still can, opo, and to keep on expressing to keep on exercising freedom of expression, lalo na ngayon na nakikita natin na yung freedom of the press, for example, is under threat with the recent developments, for example, regarding Rappler. Pero kanina rin po, during our hearing, sinabi niyo po, Nene, na yung, wait, it's my previous page, yung no elections, tsaka yung isang extended 10-year transition even towards a commonly desired federal Philippines sometime down the road. Sabi niyo po, kalokohan po yan. Bakit niyo po sinabing kalokohan ng kalokohan ng isang 10-year transition even towards a desired federalism?
Well, yung pong kalokohan na yung salita ay galing sa experience ko as mayor. Mayor ako ng Cagayan de Oro noon eh. But anyway, kidding aside, the thing is that, I mean, how do you justify, how can anyone justify setting aside the exercise of the fundamental rights of our people through the electoral process that is guaranteed by the Constitution without revising the Constitution first? And let it not be said that, sige, let us, anong pangalan, adopt the federal system, pero no election muna. Oh my goodness, I mean, as I tried to say before you, the end does not justify the means. Hindi po pwede na sabihin mo yun just to achieve a good, supposedly a good purpose. Otherwise, even the good intention will be submerged in a mess of well, a lot of nonsense that are being advocated these days. And so, my dear friends, what I am trying to say is, while we are still free, speak out. Kailan ka magsalita kung hindi na pwede? Might as well do it now. And minsan hindi ko nga maiwasan, I'm only 84 now, Mr. Chairman, but I remember during the Marcos years, I was arrested 4 times lang naman, but you know, all because I tried to speak out. But it was worth it, I might say, because eventually we regained our freedoms. And let us not set aside those freedoms, or because we have an objective to you know, adopt the federal system. Therefore, ang mga karapatang pang-tao i-set aside muna. No, sir. That should never be allowed by our people because that is guaranteed by our Constitution.
Salamat po, Nene. Yes, as you said po, and I'm sure all of us in this room share that spirit, it's always worth it. So, ipagpapatuloy po nating lahat iyan. Mr. Chair, still to the moving now to the academicians who are among our resource persons here, perhaps Dean Ron and former Dean Tony. I'm sure you've studied different attempts, previous attempts, to change the charter under various presidencies. And binanggit din yata ng isang resource person natin kanina. How would you characterize this current attempt under the present administration? May pinagkaiba ba? May pinagkapareho ba sa mga naunang efforts ng mga previous administrations?
Well, we still haven't seen it play out. Actually, it depends on what the Senate would do. I mean, so I would say I would not answer that particular question. I would say that we should look at the past and what happened in the past and learn from it. I mean, for me, yes, the president always got involved in some form or another, but as long as the bodies that were making the decision were given, you know, the space to deliberate, to make decisions, the plebiscite was done properly, then constitutional change came about, sometimes controversially, but in the end people accepted it. The 2 instances that were not accepted historically, the past was, I actually am in favor of constitutional change. also of some form of federalism, some form of regional government. As an environmental and natural resources person, I see that need every day as I go around, that the current levels of governance that we have do not really address many of the things that we have to deal with. But I think it's very important to do it properly in that deliberate way, and that's when it succeeds, when you're very deliberate about it and it's also seen as fair. So the issue for me of joint and separate voting is an issue also of fairness. It's an issue of a decision that the people made in 1987, that the Constitution will be amended in this particular way, and so I really hope that the Senate will not yield on that issue, and maybe approach it through Senator Lacson's proposal that I think can be improved even further, to be sure that it's really manipulation proof. I mean, in terms of numbers, I mean, I use manipulation in the sense that the other party has a lot more numbers than you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Tony. Would Dean Ronald, Mr. Chair, care to
Yes,
address the
and this
question?
is your last question.
Yes, thank you so much,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed, Dean Mendoza. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Ontiveros and colleagues. I have a prepared statement that I would like to share with the group. And first, I would like to thank many of the democracy fighters in the room who fought hard for us to be able to speak truth to power today, which is basically the main difference between today and the past. Dear Mr. Chair, thank you for the kind invitation extended to our researchers at the Ateneo School of Government. It is our pleasure to share some of our analysis and research findings to help enhance the evidence-based discussion of governance reforms in the country. Chief Justice Davide is right. While we have a very laudable constitution in some ways, yet many of its key features have not been properly implemented. And the Philippines, as our democratic project, is still an ongoing project. Now our people are asked to consider revisiting the bedrock institution on which our democracy is built on, the Philippine Constitution. I agree with Senator Ontiveros and Senator Pimentel that we are, as a people, must always aspire to improve our democracy. And Senator Pimentel is right. This must engage and unite our people in the process. The present situation, however, of a potential con-ass can be assessed in 3 words: conflict of interest. To fundamentally overhaul our democracy, the concentration of economic and political power, the very same features that produce the many governance and economic failures that drove us to today's discussion, will need to be reformed. If these do not change, simply producing new rules and new titles for the same political and economic players will not change much of anything. Chief Justice Puno is correct. Many of those who would tinker with our Constitution will be in a potential conflict of interest situation. In fact, internationally peer-reviewed research by the Ateneo and other universities shows that some of the fattest political dynasties, sabay-sabay tumatakbo at nanunungkulan, do not just thrive in the least developed parts of the country. They directly contribute to poor governance and poverty itself. Let me cite some figures on how political dynasties have dominated our political and in some ways economic system today. 81% of governors, 78% of congressmen, 69% of mayors, and 57% of vice mayors come from political clans. Let me just repeat that in the Congress, almost 80% of congressmen are from political dynasties, the very feature of governance failure that we would like to change. In the end, new rules of the game, while not changing any of the players, where our people are mere spectators in a game of thrones, will not provoke nor inspire progress. My last thought is this: the only thing more costly than a constitutional convention is a governance disaster. A constitution captured by vested interests and far from engaging and inspiring our citizens in nation building. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. We now proceed with the next interpellator. Senator Drilon, you have the floor. You have 7 minutes.
Thank you.